You'll get a little message, just click OK. My name's Tim Carlisle, and I'm basically a committee chairman for our website. I'm going to give you an update on what we're doing and where we are.
You guys, please hold it down.
I'll talk for about 8 to 10 minutes, and then I'll just answer questions for as long as I'm needed to be here. So here we go, and I don't believe in death by PowerPoint, so just thought I'd tell you that. All right. So what I'm going to talk about is the databases, the database, the website, Blackbaud, the rest of the data, and what you can do. When we looked into this, I had no idea when I got into this that there were 7 separate databases. The Declog database had all people that served on ships pretty much ever that submitted stuff to that database. USSVI and some of the others were subsets of that data. So we had 7 different databases with massive amounts of redundant data. None of it had been normalized. They were also written in SQL 2000, which took us a while to find something to open that up. One of our team members took all 7 databases and appended everything into one restructured database. This was a Herculean effort and but we did it in 6 weeks and handed it off to Blackbaud, who is the company that will take that data and move forward with it. The website, our current website, just so you know, has 1,400 web pages and 726 database connections. Well, the problem with the database connections, there's something called ODBC, which means they're old school and dangerous to use now. Matter of fact, nobody uses them anymore. We've taken those old databases, upgraded them to something that's modern. And now what we're doing, we've copied the entire website and put it somewhere else. And now we're taking and modifying those 726 database connections so that they will work with the upgraded databases. So we've taken everything and moved it, rehosted it, and rebuilt it. We'll be done with that about June 15th. Now, Blackbaud's database is going to be ready to go about 7/31 plus or minus a week. And we're going to run off this rebuilt website until that is done at a minimum. And then we'll keep that site around as a reference for our national officers, just to have something to refer back to for about a year. And then we'll decommission it completely. Blackbaud is a company based in Charleston. They're publicly held, $1 billion company. We've handed off a database to them. They're going to take that data, and they're almost done with this. They're going to map all of that into their system. And then right before, about 22 weeks before we go live with their database, we'll give them a final backup again. And that will be the updated data. And then the database will be done at the end of July, with our website and database in total going live the 25th of August. That's plus or minus a few days. Now, we've got a whole bunch of other data, and this is important data to us. Now, we haven't lost a submarine since about the 60s, which is good. So most of the lost boat data and submarines that have been lost, we're going to put that in its own database, along with the 44,000 internal patrol records that we have of people who have passed away, a place for boat reunions as well. This is all going to be in one big database with 3 URLs and 3 separate web pages. So in the case of Eternal Patrol and boat reunions, people can go in and update all of that data. Most importantly, it's going to be hosted with maintenance. It's extremely inexpensive to do that. And one of our team members is actually just going to take care of that for us. To him, it's being of service to his community. Couldn't agree more with that. Here's what our timeline looks like. We started this about the middle of March, combined the databases. We've handed the databases off. Our next thing is we're going to get that final backup from the old server, shut that thing down. Then we'll rebuild. Our rebuilt site will launch. We'll go from there to completing the database, and the website will go live. Now, we're also going to create our own training for this. Part of the reason is we, this company will allow us to do most of the stuff we think we'll need to do, but the challenge is they're very much focused on things like fundraising and donations, and we're less so. So rather than have people go through a whole bunch of training, what we want to do is create a training manual and provide some live training and some short videos that will assist with that. So what you can do, first thing is attend this meeting. That's a step in the right direction. The second thing is back up your member data. And I'll send out directions on how to do that. What you do is when you go into your base, into the tools menu, you're going to click on the red button that says export menu, and you'll download member data, and then you'll download the full member data. The reason for doing both is that captures almost everything that's there. The third thing is attend training. I was talking about that. We've got a couple people that are going to provide the training. We're also going to provide you a manual that goes step by step of what you would need to do. And I'm really good at making 3 to 4 minute explainer videos. I made about 50 of them for another organization. And then I found out that companies pay like $5,000 for these things. So I just gave away $250,000 worth of work, I guess. So here's what our summary and mode map looks like. You've got the databases. It's all been combined into one database. We're rebuilding the old website and rehosting it. We've handed, the Blackbaud is going to come up with their database at the end of July, their website at the end of August. We'll put the rest of the data, which may not be up by the end of August, I'm not certain. We'll move that and put that on a separate site with links from the Blackbaud site, our main website, to that. And I've told you what you can do. So we've created an email, USSVI website questions at gmail.com. If you have any questions, just reach out to me there and we'll get them answered. And I'll answer anybody's questions. Hopefully that was short enough for you.
Hey, Tim, this is Doug Lewis.
Hi, Doug.
I'm commander of the Dorado base here in Kansas. So my question is how is the management of our members going to change how we do that?
Everything will change significantly. So you'll still have, nothing is, well, the rebuilt site, it's going to be effectively the same. But when we shift over to the new website and database, everything will be completely different, most likely. We're just into the kind of the discovery of that. They've converted most of our data, but we're still trying to deal with what it's going to look like. We haven't seen a test run yet. We should get that in the next week or so. So we'll have a better idea.
Okay. Are you going to push the site out to the commanders to preview before it actually goes live?
We will probably, well, we might, the database, I'm not certain at this point. We need to see what it is first, because there won't be a website to it. And usually the way this works in their system is you go to their website, there's a members portal, the same way that we logged into our site in the past. And then that's going to get you to what the tools menu will look like. So we will get that turned around as expeditiously as possible. I doubt that we'll be able to access much more than the database, and that might be for a limited set of people. I don't have enough information to say that definitively yet.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Just so you know, I work in the IT field, so if there's any way I can be of assistance, just reach out to me, let me know.
Sure.
I'm not a programmer, but I have web experience. And
yeah, I know. I mean, it's really interesting. I sent the first email out, and then there's a bunch of people that wanted to sell me stuff. And I said, well, we're just doing this for our, ourselves, volunteering to get the data where it needs to be. But thank you for that. And I'll reach out to, if you want to send me private chat me your email address, I can certainly chat with you about it.
Sure, Tim.
All right. Other questions?
Hey, Tim, Mike
Yeah.
Rainwater in USS Snook base with my commander, Jeff Garrison, is on here also. I kind of missed a little bit of the first part trying to get my camera to work, but never got it to work. But anyway, would we access this recording?
What I'm going to do is I will put it, I'm going to make a copy of it. I'll upload it to YouTube channel.
Okay.
And then I'll share the link and send it out in the monthly email. I might send out 2 this month. I got some other stuff I want to let people know too. So yeah, so you'll have access to that. It won't be a problem.
All right, great, thanks.
Tim, this is TJ with the Brazos Valley base. Hey, is the tools site still available? I can get to the main site, but I'm not able to log into tools for some reason.
Yeah, so I've got some directions that I will send out in an email for that. It will allow, you have to go into Edge. If you have Windows 11, it's a problem.
Nope.
But if you got Windows 10 or earlier, you can go into Edge and make it pretend it's Internet Explorer and get into that.
Okay.
Now, when we've rebuilt this site, it took us a while to figure out how to get rid of all that, but we think we've successfully done it. So even the rebuilt site, and then of course the Blackbaud site, both of those will be browser neutral. You can use Safari, Firefox, Chrome, or Edge, and it should work in all of them. Yeah, I mean, that was fun to take out. So other questions?
Yeah, Tim,
Yes, sir.
could you restate, you mentioned to pull out these reports. We get into export and we pull down, you mentioned 2 of the reports.
Right. So you'll go to the red button that says export menu. And then it gives you one that says member. You export that one. And then you export the full old format, which is at the bottom of that little group of choices.
Right, yeah, the
And
full
just,
old format's the one that I always use.
yeah, but save both of them would be my recommendation. You just put them on your computer, throw them on a jump drive. I mean, all of the data that we have gone in with that database backup, and that's images, rating badges, rank, if you're an officer. So we've got all that stuff. We're just saying, do this as a precaution. Anybody else?
Sounds like a no, Tim.
Evidently you did a great job, Tim.
Yeah, right.
Well, you know, you're
Anyway.
not having any questions.
Well,
The
yeah,
only comment I want to make, actually, I just tuned in to be a fly on the wall tonight, because Tim is handling this. But I want you guys to know, I cannot overstate the gratitude that our organization owes Tim and his team in getting completed what they have completed to date. They have done more in the last couple of months than 3 other companies have managed to do in the last about 8 years. So they just, like I said, I cannot overstate the gratitude that we owe them.
thank you. Now we also do have, we have 3 other guys on the technical side of this. One of them's here, but he's anonymous. So if he smiles big, that might be the hit.
There he is.
But you know, it's not that we have anything to hide. We simply just wanted to, you know, let them do what they needed to do without too much distraction. That's all. And that's worked out pretty well so far. You know, we'll see how the rest of it goes. When it comes to taking that rehosted site and changing all the connections, there's like 726 of them. We're about, I don't know, 40% done, maybe a little bit more. And that's why from the 1st of June until the 15th, you won't have a website. And that, you know, that's just, we need to have that extra time so that we'll be able to test everything to make sure it works good enough to hand it off to you guys. You know, we were trying to minimize the time that anything is down, but we don't see a way to get around that. So that's why we're telling you in advance, hey, this is what the story is. That old server had it. We actually found where a few years ago, if you'll all recall, they had a problem with, we thought that the Russians had hacked our site. We found what they call an indicator of compromise, which we saw where they were going to do it, but we ran a bunch of tools and queries through a copy of the database, and we determined, at least as of the day that was, which has been a month and a half ago, that there was no exfiltration of data. In other words, nobody stole anything, and you don't have to worry about credit monitoring or whatever. But because of the way the database was structured, we changed it, because when you used to be able to go to find a shipmate, you could see somebody's name, address, phone number, email address. That's pretty much, you know, add their birth date in and maybe one other thing, and you could steal their identity. So somebody on this call actually did a great job of restructuring that, which we're really grateful for. Right, Bill?
Smile again, Bill.
You got it. It took a while to take and figure out what that structure was. And it's very important, as he was saying earlier, make sure you capture all your data before it gets done, because there's no guarantee we actually picked up everything. We tried our best with what we had available. So, and I think we got most of it. The numbers match pretty close to what we are saying that we have on the current site. So again, it's still important that you get a copy of your latest basis information so you can at least look at it when we get to the new one, and you can say, yeah, everything matches at that point.
Hey, Tim.
Yes, sir.
So during that period of time when the website's not available, how are you guys going to queue new members and any changes?
Great question. So what I think we're going to do, and as I've been talking to Dennis at the national office, there's a functionality that will allow us that we can put that stuff in a spreadsheet, and there's a way to import it into the Blackbaud site. We'll probably do something similar with that to the other site as well. So when I'm saying the rebuilt site, we'll find a way to import that stuff in too. So I'll work with Dennis Nardone at the national office to sort out how we're going to do that and be very clear on that. So you're going to submit your, I've already been playing around with Google Forms for a membership application so that, because when you put everything into a Google form and hit submit, it puts it into a Google Sheet, which is the same as an Excel spreadsheet. And you can download that and do things there. I just want to make sure that we're capturing everything as much as possible. We got the pictures, the before and after pictures. Now, we're still working out how we're going to, on the new site, the rebuilt site, that's site 2. We have a pretty good idea how that's going to work. But when it comes to the Blackbaud site, we're at the point where we've handed them the data. We're going to do a test run next week, and then we'll see how they use that data, and then there'll probably be some negotiation about how things are really going to work. Because my experience is that every time you do that, well, this doesn't really work with our system, so we're going to do this. And then we have to determine, is that something we can work with? Do we need them to change it and come up with a different idea? It's pretty normal. I mean, I do a lot of projects like this every day. Got a new one today. Yay, they keep us really busy at the airport. So yeah, and that working in an airport doesn't have anything to do with my skills as a diving officer. Just wanted to make sure you knew that. Although it is kind of humorous. Any other questions for anybody?
Just one more, Tim. We all know how we got here with the existing issues with the current website. What are the plans going forward to make sure that we have the people and resources so that we don't get in this position 10 years from now?
Great question. And I'll give you Tim's opinion. Wayne can chime in if he chooses to. The first thing is we could have just gotten the database data and handed it off to Blackbaud and been done with it. But I had a conversation with Wayne and just said, hey, we're here already. And then he said, well, we could do this, this, and this. And so then what I did is went back and talked to everybody. And what we've decided to do is we're going to take care of everything one time. And when I say that, that's like I said, we're going to have this additional site with Eternal Patrol, submarine reunions, and static data, simply because that's going to be hosted and maintained. Nothing that we are going to do is going to be anything but industry standard stuff. No super duper fancy stuff like what we got, which was way ahead of its time when it was done initially. However, nowadays it's, it was so complicated. When you try and go touch one thing, you'd break something else. We don't want anything to do with that. We want to keep it simple where anybody that has relatively current skills would be able to go in and do what they need to do with that. Does that make sense to you? And hosting is a big part of it too. You got to host it, make sure we have like our SSL certificates and stuff. That's something that, because our current website in the old form is so old, the certificate won't even work with it. And that there's nothing we can do about it other than get what we need to get out of there, get one more backup, and shut the old thing down. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm sure that at some point, some of us will go on Eternal Patrol, but I don't know about you, but at my base, everybody tells the year they qualify to give my birth year, and they just kind of smile at me. But I think at the end of the day, we're not going anywhere. We're all members. And if things need to get get upgraded or fixed, it's as long as we're looking at it and we still have at least one or two of the same people, we'll probably be okay. Answer your question?
Sure.
Well, Tim also, in addition to that, that's why we're paying the fees that we're paying to Blackball. They will keep everything updated for us. We don't have to worry about it. They're actually hosting the site and they're responsible for updating any modules we're using. So the only thing we will be responsible for is keeping our data updated, or whatever we put up there, which is going to be relatively simple. What got us in the problem we're in right now with this old site is when Tim VR died, passed away, there went all the knowledge that we needed to do any updating on our old website. That's the reason we still have bases up there that have been closed for quite some time. We have no way of taking them down. We have a very hard time of installing a new base up there because there's no one around that can decipher his proprietary programming that he used. So like I said, that's why we pay the money, and it's a considerable fund. I mean, a sum. This Blackball is running us roughly, counting tax and all, about $28,000 a year. It's not cheap, but now $28,000 a year sounds like a lot of money, but really in the realm of websites nowadays, particularly on the size of the one that we have up there, is a bargain, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah. I mean, you don't want to know what the AWS bill is for San Francisco International. It's big.
Yes.
And, we're still moving stuff to the cloud too. So, I mean, yeah, I don't think that's out of, too expensive or not too expensive. It's kind of in the middle, is my experience when dealing with all this.
Well, we had so many years that we weren't paying anything and it spoiled us. I mean, we felt like we should forever have a website that wasn't costing us anything, because Tim VR, it was on his server. He was not, the only thing he was charging us, period, was any base that wanted to put before and after photos up on his on the site. He asked that you pay him $25 a year. And I mean, that's the only cost we had, period, other than a security certificate, which like Tim just said, we can't even install on it, install it on the old website at this time. So guys, it's we're paying the piper for all the years we got it for nothing.
So question on the cost there, is that just for Blackbaud to develop the website, or is that an ongoing yearly cost in perpetuity?
So there's two things. So we paid them $26,000 a year, but that includes the development, access to their training, which if you attended their training, which I've attended a good deal of it, you'd really wish you hadn't, because it's not very specific to what we will want to do. The other thing is they do develop the site, they develop the database and tie it into their system. Of course, like anything, when somebody develops a system like that, they've developed it in advance with their money, and you're kind of paying them back to use their system too. But it does have a lot of good things. I believe it has the ability, there's a mobile portion of that, and there's a lot of other things that could be useful. I mean, we're examining all of those, and we don't know what we'll use right now and what we'll use later. We've just told them what we need to have done, what's most important to us, but a lot of that stuff we will probably be able to create by ourselves. They are, Wayne said it on a meeting with me talking to their chief information security officer. Probably was a really boring meeting for him, but I'm not very easily satisfied, and they've done a really good job. I mean, they explained to me exactly, well, not exactly, but in enough detail that I was satisfied that they're taking, security pretty seriously.
To go back and answer your question, Doug, He said 26,000. Of course, that doesn't include, that's what we paid them, but we neglected to pay them $1,600 and something tax that, even though we're a nonprofit, we're required to pay that tax. But that 28,000 per year is for the first 3 years. That's a 3-year contract we're on. Now, where it will go from there, whether it goes up or goes down, like Tim said, we won't know until we get to that point and figure out what we need to add or subtract from what we're getting now.
Right.
Well-
I would expect at the end of the 3-year contract that it would go into some form of a maintenance mode and cost less than what we're paying per year under the 3-year contract.
That's
But
what we're hoping.
That's my guess too. The other thing is if we're really clear about, we own the data. And if we choose to leave that organization, our data goes with us. A lot of companies, you hand them the data and you don't own it as a company anymore, but we made sure that that's the way that it is. And believe me, yeah, I've asked a lot of questions because some of their contractual agreement stuff is pretty nebulous. And so I drilled down with some of their folks about it because I said, I was concerned about indemnity. And I mean, I work with like big contracts as part of my job on a lot of big projects anyway. And I came away reasonably satisfied that we'll be okay.
I have no idea. I have no doubt that this project is in great hands. I really don't.
Well, thanks. Anybody else have any questions?
This is Don Hershenhofer, Cowtown. Did we start 2 minutes ago?
We started at, what's 6 o'clock Pacific time. So that would be probably 8 o'clock your time.
Oh,
We did-
guys, I'm sorry.
It's,
For some reason, I thought the start time was 8:30.
well, sir, it's okay because I'm recording all of this and we'll record those comments too,
Well-
but just kidding. And then, we're going to put it on YouTube and I'll send that email out so people who didn't attend one of the 4 meetings can at least go back and watch it at their leisure.
Well, I apologize. For some reason, I thought it was 8:30. My mistake.
Well, I was here on time.
Oh, okay, big deal. So was everyone else, evidently.
Although my
Early-
connection was bad.
Early is on time is late. Don't y'all know that?
Thanks for the support, Doug.
You're welcome.
Well,
All
then,
right.
No, I don't have.
At
any
least you
questions.
don't have a member called Early in your base, do you?
No,
We tease him all the time. Guy with the last name of Early.
it's been a busy week.
Yep.
I hear you there. All right, if I'm happy to stick around and answer any more questions. If you don't have any, you're free to go.
Thanks,
Tim,
Tim.
could you stay for just a minute or two, Tim? I've got a
Sure
couple
can.
of questions.
Sure,
Thank
no
you
problem.
very
Well, you
much.
can stay on. We'll record it. It's not a big deal.
Okay, because
Go for
probably
it.
what I have has already been asked half an hour ago.
Thanks,
No-
Tim.
Yeah, thank you. No problem. Go for it.
I started having a problem getting on the old site, and I don't want to dig up, skeletons or anything. About 2 years ago, when I got a new laptop,
Okay.
it has Microsoft Edge loaded onto it, and I cannot get back into the old Microsoft Explorer.
Got it. So what you can do, and I'll send the directions out if you want to put your email in the chat to me, is what
Sure.
I will do is I'll send you the directions. I'll probably just send them all to Tom if he's okay with that. And then he can hand it out through the DCs or whoever. I may just put it in an email to everybody because we
Yeah.
have enough people that have had the issue. But basically you can go into Edge and make it pretend like it's Internet Explorer. And as long as you
Or
don't
make it
have,
pretend it's Opera.
yeah, that too. But I don't like Opera, but we have it. As long as you have Windows 10, you can do that, or earlier. If you have Windows 11, forget about it. So
No,
what
I
you'd
do
want to
not.
do is I'll send those directions out, and I'll send out the information on what you would need to do to go in and export your data. And I'll just put those in, probably those and a YouTube link in the next email. So I'll send that out ASAP so that everybody has it.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
And Rick, I guess it'll just get to you, and if you'll send it to me. Rick?
Of course, just
Thank
like I
you.
sent you the third time. But all CD4 people, I got your data downloaded and I sent it to most of you already. But either way, you're more than welcome and encouraged to go in and try to figure it out yourself too.
That's
Okay.
great. Way to go.
Okay.
Yeah, Rick, this BJ, was that data you sent me, was that current?
Yes, May
Okay.
18th. May 18th,
Yep.
current.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, we got a little cleanup to do. We got some cleanup to do on that, Dave, but yeah, I got that as well.
Yeah, I know.
Rick. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Tim, there's been a lot of talk all through this about our base information and our member information and all that. Other things that are on the website, the manuals, the training, all that stuff is still going to be available, all the Capture Kids and.
Yes. I
Yes.
can answer that.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, it is. And actually, Wayne sent me a big folder on my Google Drive full of it. The other thing, though, that you won't have, and this is important, is for, Blackbaud does not have any way of really for us to create our own websites for the bases. So we don't really have an option when it comes to that. Now, a lot of bases have their own sites. I'd probably need to figure out a way to find all of those, and we may have that information somewhere. But you aren't going to be, there won't be a like Mare Island base or a Cowtown base or a Dallas base page or multiple pages with that. So if you have stuff up there that you keep documents up there separate from like the USSVI documents, manuals, and so forth, you may want to download those as well.
Hey, Tim, this is
Yes,
Doug
sir.
Lewis at the Dorado base again.
Yep.
I'm not trying to sell you anything, but we have our own website. It's ussdorado.org. It's hosted by qth.com, which is a group of amateur radio operators that decided they wanted to go into hosting. It's very inexpensive. The tools they have to create your website are very easy to use. I think we pay maybe $180 a year for our hosting services, which includes our own base email domain. So that could be an option for the other bases.
Yeah, that's one of the things that another region asked me to do was to kind of give them a list of potential hosting sites that could do that. And that's one of the things I asked Wayne about is, would it be wise to have maybe like a price for a large base, a medium base, and a small base to have a small website? I also talked to one of our guys who said, well, you can only get a couple of pages. It can still cost you some money. So I think that I wrote down, they said qth.com, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I wrote it down, and then I'll probably not the next email, but maybe an email or two after I've compiled a list of others. Maybe we can put that list of stuff out, and then people can go pick what they want.
Yep. And their support is extremely responsive.
That's good to know. Man, I
Well,
have
the thing is that any links that you can create from on your site that others can get access to it, we could probably add that to our alternate site where we're putting all of our documents and stuff as just links in there that can get to these other places. That should be fairly easy, I would think, with my knowledge, the databases and everything else, it just be stored in there and you go down to, it says, I want to go to Grotto Base website, and it would then go to your link that would be in that database. So that shouldn't
Yep.
be something that would be hard to do.
Not hard. It's a 1040 by 480 problem. Tim knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Well, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Bill does too, believe me. I was like,
I was an old Clipper developer for many years.
Yeah. On the
Now the
Calhoun, I
database
hacked,
administrator.
yeah, on the Calhoun, I hacked the HP and put the submarine in pixels across the screen when they fired it up for TRE. Oops.
you don't want to, we don't want to really go there with, I was a DS and
You heard nothing. You heard nothing.
yeah, I did have the tape that played tanks, but that tape was not, it did not go on the hard
Oh.
drive and it did not go on there when we were at sea.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But I mean, I actually kept something
I'm
on
on-
there back in the day
I just-
called a UPAC tape, and we were on a run, and
Yep, I will.
it took 3 people really screwing this up. We were, you know, we were basically shifting 400 cycle sets, and with 3 rocket scientists, we turned both of them off. Everything went down. We brought it back up. The computers were dead. They ran our navigation. It was exciting. And I finally used that UPAC tape that I didn't give back that I was supposed to write a little program to figure out what we needed to do. And yeah, that was one where at first it was my chief bringing me coffee. Then it was the department head, the XO, and the CO.
Yep. Yep.
Sounds like you needed a nice seaman to ship them 400 cycle sets.
Yeah, well, we had an
Yeah.
ET and EOW and one other guy. They all got fired. So
Yeah.
anyway, all right,
Okay, are we through telling sea stories?
I am.
No, never.
No, we're done. Anybody, unless there's anybody has any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. But
Tim, thanks a lot and great job, and we'll catch up with you on the next conference call.
All right, thanks everybody.
Hey, Dave.